Welcome to episode 46 of Timm Talk, the podcast about the DC animated universe co-created by Bruce Timm. I'm Chris Lord.
I'm Cameron Dexter.
Did it right that time.
We did it.
Did it.
God, Chris, it's been a rough week.
It has been a long week. I feel like we're both still kind of hungover from Comic-Con, even though we got back a week ago.
It's the post. I call it the post-con depression, which I think is a real thing for a lot of people.
It probably is.
Where it's just like, it's not just that your energy is zapped. It's just like the idea of knowing it's an entire year before you can be back with that many nerds.
I mean, no, I guess that's true. Yeah, we have WonderCon.
Yeah. I mean, WonderCon this year was meh.
I didn't even go.
You didn't even go. Yeah.
I know. So what am I talking about?
Right.
So, I mean, we will eventually get to our topic of the day, which, of course, is SubZero. It'll take us a long time to get there, though, because... So we did do the Comic-Con special, which was super fun. Mm-hmm. We did that Friday night, though.
Yeah, unfortunately, we recorded that before the DC panel. That was on Saturday.
So there was tons and tons of news. We're going to do our best to try and get through it relatively quickly, even though it's not news at this point. It's all been out for over a week.
Yeah.
But I'm going to start with some news that has absolutely nothing to do with Comic-Con or Batman, but is personally exciting for me, which is that the new James Bond movie has a release date in November of 2019. Yeah, so Bond 25 will be released in November 2019. Daniel Craig is confirmed to come back for at least one movie, probably for a fuckload of cash. There is no director yet on it, although there are three contenders. Denis Villeneuve, who did Arrival and is doing Blade Runner 2049 and did Sicario.
I like that.
I would love to have him come on there. I mean, because he's like an actual, like, proper, like, auteur filmmaker. He'd be awesome. Another option would be David Mackenzie, who I didn't recognize until I saw that he did Hell or High Water.
Okay.
Did you ever see that?
Nope.
It's excellent.
That's the Chris Pine,
Ben Foster, Jeff Bridges.
We're in the West stealing stuff.
Yeah, it's like a modern Western sort of thing. Like, there's a lot of movies that are similar to it, but that one just does its own thing really, really well.
That's what I kept hearing.
Yeah, I loved it. I would love to see him tackle one. The last one was Yann Demange. I'm probably pronouncing that poorly.
Sounds French.
But he did a movie called 71 with Jack O'Connell. It's like about, I think it has to do with like the IRA. The Irish Army.
Oh.
Yeah. From 1971.
I was thinking.
Yeah.
like
a tax form? No, yeah. The infamous IRA is... No, yeah, like it has to...
I don't know. My mom would go see that movie, I'm sure.
Would. Yeah. I come from a family of accountants. Someone will see that.
Yeah.
So any one of the three of them, I think, would be cool choices. Neil Purvis and Robert Wade. This means nothing to you or most people who listen to this.
Not at all.
They're the writers.
I'm excited to hear you be excited.
Well, so here's the thing, though, because those two guys, they've been on every Bond film since Tomorrow Never Dies, including the really good ones, Casino Royale and Skyfall. But they also had co-writers on those in the form of Paul Haggis and John Logan, who are really good writers. These guys are responsible also for, like, the Pierce Brosnan ones as well. So it's a little bit concerning. But the craziest thing about all of this is that there's not a studio attached to distribute it yet.
No, why would there be?
Yeah, which is insane. So, like, the deal with Sony's up, because Sony's distributed for years. So now Eon Productions / MGM is shopping around for one film to Sony, Warner Brothers, Universal, Fox, and Annapurna, which is just a crazy deal if you think about it, because they're all desperate for franchises. This isn't a franchise; it's literally
a single movie,
one movie. Yeah, with probably like a $250 million budget. It's like, hey, you guys want to make? But
also pretty much a guaranteed success.
I mean, yes.
Even if it's bad, they're gonna make their money back.
I mean, they'll make their money back. It's a guaranteed success, but not necessarily a huge success. Because that's the thing with the Bond films is like the films themselves are reactionary, and people's responses to them are also reactionary. It's like Skyfall comes out and is huge, like the biggest Bond film ever because it's so good, and then we go into Spectre and it doesn't do well because it's not very good. So now people are going to go in like, well, the last one wasn't very good. Is this?
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, before Skyfall was Quantum, and that didn't do very well, did it?
That didn't do well either. Yeah, I'm an apologist for Quantum of Solace, but yeah, it didn't do great. But yeah, I'm just really excited about that because I love James Bond.
And I'm sure they'll market it well, like Daniel Craig's final Bond film.
Like it'll do fine, but it's all super interesting. It's a pretty bold move to like lock in a release date. When they locked in the release date, they had only writers confirmed. They hadn't confirmed Craig or the directors of the studio. It's like, that is bold move, Barbara Broccoli, but you generally make good decisions. So
I think they just want to start getting the hype back because it has been because Spectre was
2015. So when this
ago.
Comes out in 2019, it'll tie for the second longest gap between films.
Okay, so they're just trying to get like the murmurs started.
Exactly.
Just like,
yeah.
Oh, did you hear? Just speaking in the alleys.
James Bond. Yeah. But we should also talk about other things. Like Marvel. Still not talking Batman yet.
Okay.
Marvel news from Comic-Con.
We got some trailers.
Thor trailer. Looks amazing.
Yep. Very excited for this movie.
Still super excited. Not much else to say there.
I think we were right when we talked about it last time, where the first trailer we got is probably the first 20 to 30 minutes of the movie.
I think so, yeah.
And then the rest of it is going to be that buddy cop road trip story.
Yeah, them going after Hela going back to Asgard. It looks great.
Yeah.
It looks so much damn fun. Looks like a departure, too, from Marvel, which I'm excited about.
It's nice to see them still trying new things.
Yeah.
And especially because they're going to probably have to keep trying new things post Infinity War.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a clean slate.
Yeah, and obviously there was footage shown of Infinity War at Comic-Con. We didn't go to that. We didn't bother trying to get on Hall H on Saturday.
People were in line Thursday night.
Yeah.
Or probably Thursday day.
Probably, which is absolutely insane. So nothing to talk about in terms of Infinity War related, but we got the news that Michelle Pfeiffer is going to be the Wasp in Ant-Man.
Ooh.
Which I'm super excited about. I love Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
This is also yet another Batman actor getting pulled into the MCU, which is pretty awesome. So, hey, look, it's kind of relevant.
Yay.
It's relevant of sorts.
Always.
And then, of course, Captain Marvel. The news on that.
Refresh my mind.
Jesus Christ. It's going to be set in the 1990s.
Right, I did hear that.
Nick Fury is going to be in it.
Yes.
With both eyes.
Is it going to be white or black?
Well, I'm assuming it's going to be black Nick Fury. I think
they're not going to bring David Hasselhoff back to reprise his 90s Nick Fury movie?
I think that was actually early 2000s.
I don't think so.
I'm sure it was.
Double check. I feel like we've had this exact conversation.
We did, I think, at one of the crossovers. Yeah. And the scrolls with the villains, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
I don't know that much about them, but they're pretty badass. So that should be cool. But then we can actually talk about some DC news as well. Did you watch the Justice League trailer, the new one?
Yes.
What did you think?
It's... I don't know. I mean, for a trailer, this didn't get me as excited as the normal trailers do.
Yep.
I was right. 1998.
Damn.
I hope they make some joke about that.
Has to happen every once in a while.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, we talk about this a lot, that Zack Snyder is maybe the best at trailers.
Yeah.
Or one of the best. Like, every movie he makes, we get excited. We know we're going to be let down, but we get excited still. You've kind of lost all hope. You've
pretty much
sealed off your heart.
Yeah.
I am still an innocent one that believes in the impossible.
Oh, he's a dreamer.
I'm a dreamer. But I don't know. Something about this trailer just wasn't. I feel like it didn't know what it wanted to be.
No.
Where usually they have it's a comedy themed trailer, or it's going to show off all the action. And they show a little bit of both. The ending where they're probably definitely teasing Superman.
Yeah. Ugh.
Felt very unnecessary, especially when the art has Superman in it.
I know.
Like, the main poster has Superman to the left of Batman.
Yeah. And it's like, I get that they're teasing us with the reveal of Superman, but also if that's a real scene in the movie, that's such a boring, lame way to bring Superman back.
I know. I keep wanting to think it's someone else.
But I mean, it's not.
I don't know who it would be.
No, it's Superman. Now, I mean, they do make reference to the Green Lantern Corps in the trailer.
That's true.
I don't know if you caught that.
No.
Yeah, so the villain, Steppenwolf, again, I have no idea who that character is.
He's some, he's like an underling of...
Yeah, he's like an emissary of Darkseid,
yeah.
but it's really, that's what you're throwing at us for your first... Anyways, he mentions that Earth is easy to attack because it has no Kryptonian, referring to Superman, but also no lanterns. I was like,
okay.
Did he say lanterns? I had to go and turn on closed captioning when I watched the trailer. But so... And we know I think that's one of the confirmed movies from the presentation was Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah, Green Lantern Corps for, I think, 2020.
That sounds right, yeah. So, who knows? We will see in just a matter of months how bad it actually is.
As many of you regular listeners probably know, we trash Zack Snyder a lot on this podcast. And we do our best to kind of close that book when we can. And just try and let it be on its own.
Are you telling me I should just let this go?
No. I'm saying you've gotten better about not bringing it up, and if it does come up, you don't kind of latch onto it for very long anymore. No. In the earlier episodes, that'd be a 5-minute detour where it was just 5 minutes of trashing Snyder.
Well, now I'm doing 5-minute detours about James Bond, so I don't have room for long detours.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Zack Snyder.
That's absolutely fine.
I mean, look.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about it?
When it comes out, and if it's as big as a mess we think it is, like, it's not just purely on his shoulders, though. Like, it's worth acknowledging that the creative problems the whole franchise has, and that's not just purely him.
Right.
So, yeah, like, they don't really... I mean, they have Jeff Johns now, but he's not really a Kevin Feige.
Yeah,
so,
well, they had Jeff Johns from Wonder Woman, is when he came on after...
Yeah, but I feel like that was after it had already gone in production.
Oh, it was after Batman Superman was when they brought in Jeff Johns.
Yeah, but I mean, by the time they brought me in, now they're doing massive reshoots, so it's possible he has a bigger influence on this movie than he did in the past.
Ideally. But also, like he's good at those big stories, but he shines with Flash and GL.
Well... You say that he shines as Flash, but if we want to see broader signs of a really bad decision-making trend...
They're trying to make Flashpoint.
How do you... What?
That's... I would love it as that way to just reset the franchise.
Well, that's kind of what the rumors are flying out, because now there's all the speculation that Ben Affleck's going to walk away from...
Yeah, because he doesn't seem to like it.
He doesn't seem to like it. And again, like, he didn't flat out deny it. He just talked about how grateful he was to be playing Batman at the convention, but I mean, the same rumors are flying about him not directing the Batman right before he's left directing the Batman. Mm-hmm. I don't know how I feel about that.
I just don't think we have, like, I'm gonna steal this from our other podcast that we steal everything else from.
The Weekly Planet.
Weekly Planet.
Yeah.
We just don't have enough time with all the characters to do that kind of reset.
No.
Like, unless they just stick with the core three, which I don't think they should, because one of the best subplots of Flashpoint is the Atlantean-Themyscirian War.
Yeah.
It's like, if we just stick with the Batman story, the Superman story, and maybe even just that, like, you could make a decent movie of just that. I wouldn't want it yet.
No.
At some point I would like it. Not yet.
Yeah.
But, like, you could get something decent. And also, we don't have enough time with the Flash to understand that.
Yeah.
We don't... We can get the backstory. It looks like we're going to get his flashback. Probably going to be the most prominent in this movie.
Yeah, because we see his dad in prison. Yeah.
And I mean, we don't really need an Aquaman origin. We'll get a brief Cyclops one. Yeah.
Cyborg?
Nope. Cyclops.
Yeah.
James Marsden as Cyclops in this movie. That's what I'm most excited for.
We needed a more boring character than Cyborg, so we picked Cyclops.
Oh, I beg to differ. I think Cyclops might be the most boring superhero.
Yeah, he's more boring than Cyborg.
God damn it. I keep saying it.
That's what I said.
I meant the other way around.
Oh.
Whatever. Yeah, we just don't... there's not enough at stake from what we know at the moment.
Yeah, it seems like their way of shoehorning in making a Flash movie really all about Batman, because it'll be the whole Thomas Wayne arc and him going up against Martha Wayne as the Joker and all this other crap, and it's just like... I don't... They keep trying to force upon us things they haven't earned yet. The death of Superman, Batman versus Superman,
right.
Even just the existence of a Justice League movie. Like, they haven't earned any of these things. Mm-hmm. Like, they earned the Wonder Woman movie because it was an origin story and it was set before everything else. And it just did a clean adaptation of her intro, her origins.
And if you compare this, I mean, we obviously always do this, but if you compare it to Marvel... From my knowledge, I obviously don't know the Marvel comics as well as the DC comics.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I don't think they went for the biggest comics to start.
No.
Like, the Iron Man movie isn't based off of, like, his main story. I mean, Iron Man 3 is kind of, like, Mandarin is kind of one of his bigger villains.
Yeah, but I mean, and, like, Iron Man 2 is, like, a very loose adaptation, like Demon in a Bottle, which is one of the most famous, like, Iron Man story arcs. But that's also it's a purely Iron Man story. Like, this would basically be if Marvel had tried to do Civil War as Avengers.
Their
fifth movie?
No, not even that. I mean, Avengers is their fifth movie. So
no, Avengers are sixth. Iron Man, Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Cap.
You're right. God damn it.
Boom!
I just guessed a number.
Yeah, so did I, but I was right.
Yeah, as their first Avengers film, they tried to do Civil War. And it's... I don't know, Chris. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do.
I don't know. And yeah.
And now there's a mustache. But not. What are we doing, Chris? What are we doing about this? There's a mustache on Superman. How do you feel about that?
At least it's not our job to digitally erase every whisper.
God, fuck that. I feel so, as a person who knows the tortures of frame by frame, like rotoscoping and removal and all that shit, I feel so bad for that team.
Yeah.
Especially because it's probably going to fall on like an intern.
It probably is. Yeah.
And he's going to hate his life.
But forever on his resume, he can put the guy who erased Superman's mustache.
Yeah, unless it's not done well.
It probably won't be done well. I think
are they going to add the mullet?
Yeah.
Are they just going to move?
They're digitally going to
his head?
Move his facial hair up onto the back of his head.
Yeah.
The only other bit of DC news from all that was that Shazam now has a director in the form of David S. Sandberg, who did Lights Out and Annabelle Creation. Haven't seen either one of them, but I heard Lights Out's actually pretty good. But the weird part about it is that Dwayne Johnson's not even going to be in Shazam.
No, why would he?
Yeah, it's like
why would you? Why would you take the biggest stories of Batman and Superman, but then with Shazam not use his main villain? I don't know
because they're going to give him his own movie because it's Dwayne Johnson. He's probably demanding that.
Yeah. Well, I think they announced that a while ago, didn't they?
But they announced that he was going to have his own movie a long time ago. But it was always run with the assumption that he was then also going to be in Shazam, which would make the most sense.
No.
But you know what? At least Warner Brothers is bringing out one movie that does look good.
Chris, if this movie doesn't do well.
We're talking about Ready Player One, by the way.
Yes. This has been very, you hammer this into the podcast very often, but I don't read many books.
No.
I've read.
Did you actually read?
I've listened to this book.
There we go. 5 times now.
Holy shit. I love this story. And I know there's a lot of like deep-rooted nerds that don't enjoy this because it's just, blah, blah, blah nonsense. But I love this book. And if it's not done well, I might just give up on Warner Brothers.
I mean, look, the trailer looks good.
Mm-hmm.
It's Steven Spielberg.
We know that Iron Giant is going to be a main component, which makes my heart sing.
Yeah, this movie, this is the first movie since Roger Rabbit, basically, where you're talking about trying to introduce a ton of different other IP into this one world.
Chris, we talked about the last movie that did this.
We did?
In January.
Wait, you think I remember shit back in January?
Lego Batman did this.
Well, no, not in the same way, because that's all Warner Brothers IP.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Now, the Lego movie itself had a lot of disparate IPs, but they all have licensing with those franchises that exist. Because even in the trailer, we see Back to the Future, we see Iron Giant, we see the light cycle from Akira.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a light cycle, it's a normal cycle from Akira.
Yeah, it's just the futuristic motorcycle.
The song playing through the whole thing is a remix of Pure Imagination
I know, I
from
love that.
Really cool. So there's a lot of different IP coming in on this, and without someone like Spielberg, it'd be hard to do that. But Spielberg's the kind of guy who can just call up whoever he needs.
Well, he was also the one that got them to do it for Roger Rabbit.
Exactly, yeah. So I think I'm glad that they handed it off to him because I feel like he can do it.
Yeah.
And it looks really fun. I don't remember there being a car chase anywhere in the book.
No,
but
not at all.
That car chase sequence looks awesome. Right on.
I'm going to dip into spoilers. I'm going to assume they're going to replace the second trial with that.
Which one was the second trial?
The War Games trial.
Oh, probably. Oh, yeah.
Because that's one. I don't think War Games was Warner Brothers. I think it was Universal.
But also, that's not that cinematic to just recreate an entire movie bit by bit. So this will probably be something different. But
what I would want is I still want who's the actor in War Games?
Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, I would like him to cameo in it.
They'd probably have a cameo in there somewhere for him. I don't know as Ferris or as War Games. I don't know his character in War Games. I've never seen it. So
neither have I. I feel like I should. I hear good things about it.
Yeah, we should probably watch it at some point.
Yeah.
That'll be a plug one day. But
yeah, this is the movie. This is my movie.
Yeah. No, I'm excited for it. It looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
Last two things: the Ninjago trailer, Lego Ninjago, actually looks
Ninjago.
Really, fuck it, whatever. Whatever. It looks good. Fuck you. I'm trying to be supportive of this movie. Ninjago.
Yeah, I mean, it's had a long-lasting series on Cartoon Network. Yeah.
The movie looks good. It looks really fun. It looks like they captured that same kind of humor. Mm-hmm. So excited about that. Also, the Stranger Things trailer looked amazing.
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
Why did you watch it?
I didn't.
Did you watch Stranger Things?
I did. I watched the series. Didn't watch the trailer.
Why not?
I kind of want to go in fresh.
Okay, but it's a good trailer. They incorporate Thriller, which is one of the best songs ever.
Ooh,
yeah, no.
I have a shirt. I have a Stranger Things shirt now.
Oh, I'd like
from the booth. Yeah.
I thought he was like, congratulations, Cameron, you own a shirt.
I own a shirt. This is very important news.
It has Nickelodeon on it, of course.
It does.
Okay.
Now that we're 20 minutes into the podcast.
20 minutes in talking bullshit, so we finally get to the topic at hand.
I guess so.
SubZero.
What none of the fans are here for.
Yeah. It's like a fine, long episode.
Yeah. I think I have a few questions. Should we do them beforehand? After? I'll do one beforehand. Because if they reversed these two movies, if we got this before Phantasm, would you have liked it more? Do you think the looming idea of Phantasm just lowers this?
I guess in some sense, I think you can just see they went into making this with a very different mentality. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like with...
And it was also meant for different purposes.
It was. So this was released in 98, but made in 97. Clearly designed...
It was supposed to be out in 97.
Yeah, it was supposed to coincide with Batman and Robin, but because that was a critical and commercial bomb, they pushed it out a year. And this actually did fairly well. Yeah. Like, critically and commercially, for what it was.
Well, it wasn't theatrical. I'm sure it had a small release.
Yeah, I think so.
But Phantasm is the only theatrical release.
This is true.
Batman film.
Yes, I mean, it's fine. I think it...
This is also 4 years after the series has ended.
This is true,
Which begs the question why they chose Batman Adventure style instead of New Batman Adventure style.
Yeah.
Because that was still... Either that was still going on or just ended.
Yeah, it would have been more or less ongoing at that point. It is an interesting choice that they made.
Was
on their
Freeze
part.
in New Batman? Is that why?
He was a New Batman.
Okay.
So I guess I don't... Yeah, what's interesting is that like this like connects plot threads, if I kind of recall, between the original animated series.
Very loosely.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. There's one episode...
ended on Freeze like a month ago.
Yeah, Freeze was on an iceberg with Nora, like going off in the Arctic. So that's where he starts in this movie, so that makes sense. I can't remember, though, if in the New Batman Adventures, the one episode of Mr. Freeze, if it acknowledges
that Nora's
healed. Yeah.
I mean, probably not, because that probably came out before this movie.
Yeah. But I guess it depends on when it was written, which
That's true.
I wasn't able to get an answer to that, really. Mm-hmm. And how long it was in development. So this may have been written before New Batman Adventures, maybe gone into production, actually, before New Batman Adventures.
Because I think this would have been great as a two-parter. Honestly, I would have rather... I mean, the last episode we had was great. The Batgirl Returns episode, was good. I would have rather ended on this two-parter.
Yeah, I agree,
because we get Barbara in it.
Yeah,
it's a great Freeze ending.
It is, and you can tell even like because you watched it on Amazon, I'm assuming, as did I.
Did you have this long black, full? So they were 10 seconds each. A full minute of content was just black screen.
Considering it's like 67 minutes, that's pretty extreme.
Yeah.
Because I was confused. Like, as I'm watching, I'm like, did something go wrong? Like, did my Xbox, because Xbox is a piece of shit, did it act up again and cause problems?
Not our sponsor this week.
Oh, it'll never be.
We're a Sony-sponsored series.
It'll never be our sponsor. I despise that thing. It causes me nothing but headaches. And yes, I was like, it clearly felt like it was written to be on TV, and maybe it was originally like a 2-part episode, and they're like, well, we never actually produced this, maybe we'll just go ahead and make it a feature. It's got Mr. Freeze in it, he's coming out in a movie, we'll just do this. Because I mean, it has Batman, Robin, Batgirl, and Mr. Freeze in it. I mean, it has everything but Poison Ivy and Bane. It's basically Batman and Robin,
right?
And it's okay. Here's another question: is this better than Batman and Robin?
Entertainment. On the entertainment scale, no.
I agree.
On the story plot, sure.
I think so, because I think you empathize with Freeze more in this. His turn, where he becomes kind of good, or at least becomes helpful, feels more realistic in this than it did in Batman and Robin. Mm-hmm.
This has nothing to do with Schwarzenegger's acting. Nothing.
Not in the slightest.
I do miss the puns. I think this movie needed more 2 puns. Good puns.
Yeah, I agree with you. I still find Batman and Robin super entertaining. Like, if I will sit down and watch that before I'll sit down and watch Batman or The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Any day.
Chris, I do have a quick point to make.
Yes.
We didn't need to watch this movie. If you, for our fans that watch this with us, none of you, Bruce Timm and Paul Dini have nothing to do with this movie.
This is true.
The only person that I connected to the original franchise, two people, is Andrea Romano. She's in everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's directed by Boyd Kirkland.
Yes, and it's also co-written by him and Randy Rogel, who did write some of the episodes of the animated series.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But, Chris, why am I wasting my time with this movie? Why are you making me watch this?
It's technically part of the DC Extended Universe.
I don't care. This is the Timm Talk podcast, Chris. I'm only watching stuff with Bruce Timm's name attached to it. You can do this I'm leaving. You can do this by yourself.
Okay, that's fine.
No, I'm not even going to try to do the Foley work.
I mean,
I took the notes. I'm still here.
This is... Well, yeah, I mean, this is the first of our official episodes. We talked about nothing involving Bruce Timm because we did 20 minutes of news that had nothing to do with him.
25 now.
Well, now we've been talking.
Yeah, now we've been riffing.
Yeah, come on. Yeah. But
let's just speed through this movie real quick.
Yeah. So, okay, one thing I did like, but it was also weird, was right from the very beginning, they used the original 89 score for the introduction. I don't know why.
Probably because whoever did the music score didn't want to do it again.
The music is not very good. It is
very odd.
It is odd, and I think you're right. The problem is, as you're watching this, it's hard not to compare every element of it to The Mask of the Phantasm, which is the best Batman movie, definitively.
Because even the opening scene, not opening scene, when we first see Batman, is very reminiscent of Phantasm.
Yeah,
it's the chase scene to a party scene where there's three girls chasing Bruce at the party.
Yeah,
Veland is there.
Veronica's there. Yeah, she wasn't there in.
She wasn't in Phantasm?
She wasn't in Phantasm.
Oh, whatever. Well, there's the difference.
There we go. There's one. But yeah, so because, what I noticed about this movie is it's incredibly inefficient. It's really, for what it is, it's very short. But you look at Phantasm. Phantasm does a lot of work in terms of character and backstory and drama and action. Like, that is an incredibly tight, efficient... 100?
110, 16? I think it was 116.
No, I mean, 116 is like almost 2 full hours.
100 minutes?
I think it's I think it's like 70. I think it's like 70 something minutes.
I don't know.
I can look it up. The point is, that movie is short but incredibly efficient.
Absolutely.
Not much actually happens.
I mean, you said it kind of at the beginning of this talk. This was probably written as a two-parter, which would have been 40 minutes.
Yeah.
They had to extend for an extra a full extra episode.
Yeah, because even the opening scene where Freeze has basically built himself a house up in the Arctic with 2 polar bears and a little Inuit kid, and a submarine crashes through and breaks open Nora's containment chamber. So he kills all of them. One little thing I liked. Yes. So the character in this of Dr. Gregory Belson, who's the other villain, the guy who gets brought in to help Nora live. He's voiced by George Sunza. I'm probably going to pronounce that wrong.
Okay.
Who is the voice of the ventriloquist.
Oh, good.
And the voice of Perry White. And I noticed in the Superman series that we're going to be watching next.
I've mentioned this before. I've never seen the Superman series.
But you know who Perry White is.
Nope.
Fuck's sake.
I know Barry White. Same thing.
So one of the guys who was operating the submarine looks like that actor, and that actor played Cobb in Crimson Tide as, I think, the dive captain or something like that on it, or one of the submarine commanders. So I think there was a deliberate reference to him formerly playing a submarine commander because they animated him on a submarine.
Okay.
And you've probably never seen Crimson Tide. It's Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman, and literally every other person that's ever been in a movie in small bit roles. James Gandolfini's in there, Steve Zahn, Viggo Mortensen. All these guys have little bit parts. And it's an incredible movie about... I'm going to do a little talk about here Crimson Tide real quick.
All right, that's fine.
But it's an awesome movie.
I'm sure I'll talk about White Squall at some point in this podcast.
Set during the end of the Cold War, and basically a U.S. nuclear sub gets there's a really tight political situation between the U.S. and Russia, and they get a launch command.
Okay.
And then they are starting to get another order when they have a short circuit, and so the captain of the boat wants to launch a missile, and the XO is we have to get our confirmed orders, because if we start a nuclear war, this is going to be some real fucked up shit. And it's just a really tight thriller between the two of them as they're trying to assert command over the other on the submarine.
Okay.
It's excellent.
It sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds like something I probably won't watch.
You probably won't watch. I'll bring it up again at the end. It's one of my plugs, I think, actually.
Let's do it.
It's really fucking good. But
so we're back in Gotham 2 weeks later.
It's a heat wave because it has to be, because Mr. Freeze is in this.
Yeah. We start up on a criminal, on a petty thief who is robbing a jewelry store. I had a problem with this scene.
Did you know?
One of many in this movie. We hear in the 2 weeks before, Mr. Freeze and Nora, she's been frozen for 10 years now.
Has she?
Yes, he said that.
Okay.
And in the Heart of Ice episode, I understand that the characters don't have to age. That's fine.
Yeah.
I got really nitpicky with this movie. Like, unnecessarily nitpicky with this movie.
So
in Heart of Ice, we know that she's only been frozen 1 year.
Oh.
Because it was like his... Yeah, because he had just finished recovering. So that means minimum... I don't know why I still argue at this point. Why are there still petty thieves that think they can get away with this, where Batman has been around for at least 9 years?
What? How's he been around for 9 years?
Because she's been frozen 10. Heart of Ice, she was frozen 1.
But
there's been 9
Batman
years.
Batman wasn't necessarily operating as Batman when she was frozen originally.
Heart of Ice, yeah.
But like
not originally.
But she was frozen before Freeze became Freeze.
1 year. Oh, yeah. All right. Never mind.
Like, she could have been in cryostasis for a long time before
the accident?
Yeah, before Freeze became Freeze.
Didn't think about that.
And I think there was then a time gap between when that happened to him and when he started going on a crime spree.
Yeah, 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah. That was the 1 year I was referring to.
Whatever. Okay.
My other nitpicky moments make more sense because I actually did actual research.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I had a little moment of delight in this scene because the old man who they're robbing from is named Myron, and I think like Myron's a perfect old name, man. Partly because my grandfather's brother is named Myron, and so that's just
perfect. Myron and Esther.
Yeah, was that her name?
No, I have no idea.
It probably is though.
That's just like the generic old lady name.
Yeah, but yeah. So Batman intercedes in the way he always does. He jumps onto the hood of the car and like covers the windshield with his cape.
Mm-hmm. They crash. He captures them. They go to a party.
Yeah, he's in a tuxedo.
Yep.
As is Dick.
Yep.
He's wearing cummerbund. Just that never looks good.
No, but it's so cute because it's the same color as Barbara's dress.
No, it's not. He's got like a
It's a lighter blue.
He's got like a periwinkle
it's the same blue.
No, it's not the same blue. He's got like a periwinkle blue.
I said it's a lighter blue.
She's like a darker blue, but it's not.
He tried. He gave effort. He gave it the old college try. I didn't understand colors until I was in college. They're 20. They're sophomores. It was cute. He tried. He tried his best.
Okay. All right.
There was some awkward banter, but so during the scene, there's a decently odd conversation between Dick and Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
Because he knows that they're dating now or getting serious. Mm-hmm. We see like little snippets of her being Batgirl, and that's why she's late. She comes to the party. Another weird interaction between Dick and Gordon. And then they have like a cute date moment, and then they decide that they're going to go on a road trip for the weekend, which I guess they never actually get to do because she gets kidnapped.
Yeah.
And I just want to speak to the most important part of this. Or I guess the second most important part.
I'm very curious what your definition of important is going to be. Go on.
So, they have their cutesy moment. We see Freeze talking. Freeze kidnaps
Belson,
who is the leading researcher on cryogenic technology, as we learn later. I was wondering why he played such an important role.
He is also like $2.5 million in debt from a like mishandling of pharmaceutical futures.
Yeah, which I've said this before, is so complicated for a kids movie.
I mean, you get the idea. He's in debt.
Yeah, he
get it.
Yeah, he spent money that he doesn't have, kids.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do it.
Yeah. Don't pay off credit cards with credit cards. It's a bad decision. Also, I'm sure most of our audience is older than us.
Yeah.
So, and probably more financially sound.
Just a little bit. So Benson kind of diagnoses Nora. Belson diagnoses Nora. Since her chamber broke, she just has a few weeks to live.
Yes.
And the only way to cure her at this point is to give her an organ donation.
Yeah, we don't know what organ. It's an organ.
Yeah, an organ transplant.
An ambiguous organ, yes. Just go right to church.
Yeah, so they nice.
Yeah.
They rush up to the hospital to kind of scroll through the donor list. She also has the most unique blood type in the world.
Is this where you're going to get nitpicky here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you do this research?
I did it as well, but I'm going to let you do this. Explain to us why this doesn't make sense, Cameron.
So she has AB negative.
Yep.
And apparently there's no dead donors, so they have to pick a live person.
Yes.
And in Gotham, there are 18 people that have AB negative blood type.
Well, I think it was 18 women of a similar age and...
So they say that, but then when Batman does the search without those restraints, it's just
right
18.
So that
means no men.
Yeah. So we're dealing with that little bit of implausibility alone. And technically, this is true. AB negative is the rarest blood type.
Yes, there is. It's a 0.6%.
Yes, I got that same number.
Yes.
But what's the bigger problem with this, Cameron?
So I connected it to Dark Knight. So in the Nolan movies, Gotham's about the size of Chicago.
Okay.
Right? Let me put my numbers because I actually have numbers written down.
You might have different critiques about this.
So doing the math, there's 0.6 people in the U.S. that have that blood type.
What? You mean 0.6%?
Yes, 0.6%.
Mm-hmm. Now who's getting nitpicky?
No, a 0.6 of a person. So in Chicago, there's how many people in Chicago? Should have wrote this number down.
Oh man, falling apart here.
More than 3 million. 13 million. I'll do the U.S. number. In the U.S. there was about 19 million people with this blood type. In Chicago, if you just whittle it down, use the same percent, there's 16,000 people that have the AB negative blood type.
Population of Chicago in 1993 was 2.7 million.
Okay, so it might be a little less than 16,000, but still, 18 compared to 16.5.
Hang on, I'm running numbers here.
Are you crunching the numbers? Crunch. Type. Enters.
Hang on, I did the wrong place.
Just trust me on this one. I actually did the math on this.
I'm going to see if you're right, though.
Okay. I did it to today's numbers. So it'll probably be either 15.9 or 16.2.
0.006. Okay, how many people do you have?
No, it'd be 0.6. 0.06, sorry.
No, it's a 0.6%. So it's 0.0. You multiply it by 0.006.
So it'd be 1,650.
16,200.
Oh, then I was right then. So I did the math right.
Okay.
Yeah, I got... Here, you can look at my notes. You can check my math. 16,000.
Okay, there we go. All right, okay.
Yeah. This podcast is going way off the rails. We need guests, Chris.
We need to go back to guests.
We need more friends.
We need to go back to guests.
We're at 40 minutes. We haven't even started talking about this movie.
We'll go through the movie pretty quickly, actually.
Yeah.
So, okay, but... So
I was about to get to my favorite part.
Okay, go on.
Because it's the song. They play the song, Chris.
Okay, hang on.
Oh, sorry, you had your note.
I have a note. Okay, so your critique is that there should be way more people.
Yes.
Okay, but it would be half of that because it's women. They're looking for women only.
Yeah,
but
sure.
we're still looking at thousands. Okay.
You're still looking at minimum 1,000.
And they decide to pick the daughter of the police commissioner, who they both must know who he is.
Yeah,
genius.
I also had that problem.
My problem, and I think this is right. I actually had a hard time getting this absolutely confirmed. But, so AB negative is the rarest blood type in... known.
The world.
It is a world, yes. But it is also a universal recipient.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so AB, I mean, it has to all be negative blood type as well, but so AB can receive AB, B, A, and O blood types. Mm-hmm. So although it's the rarest...
What about organ types?
Well, I think it's the same. I think it's the same, right? I think
No, Chris. That's not how the science in this movie works.
Okay, yeah. By all means, this doesn't make any goddamn sense. Clearly, they're just what's the rarest blood type? AB negative. Cool, throw that in there. Mm-hmm. If they'd gone for O, then they actually, because that's they can only receive O.
Yeah. I don't know this shit.
Life lessons on Timm Talk.
Yeah.
But yes, okay, so
getting to my favorite point.
Your
of this
favorite
movie.
part. Okay, I was wondering if you're going to bring this up.
How could I not bring this up, Chris?
Yeah, so Freeze and Belson are trying to find Barbara, so they call her dorm room to see where she is, and they talk to her roommate. And what song is playing?
I'm So Blue.
No, it's Am I Blue?
Am I Blue? Whatever, I didn't write the name of the song. It's the same song that Batman has to sing in the Justice League
There he goes.
That's what I was excited for.
He got it.
Full circle, 6-ish years apart.
Yeah. We can just stop now, right?
Yeah, that was the movie.
All right, good.
Then there was some bad CGI. Then Batman beat some people up, and then everyone's saved.
Yeah, so
that's our podcast, people.
They go after Barbara. They figure out that she's at some swingy jazz club with Dick,
which is kind of cool. I like this scene.
It's kind of fun. Yeah, I
miss big band jazz clubs.
I know, right?
I can't say that I miss because I've never been to one.
Never been to one. That'd be cool to think.
I miss the idea of
there must be one
big
in LA.
band. Oh, there has to be.
Yeah, I've been to like low key kind of jazz clubs. But never.
But I want big band.
Yeah, I want big band.
I want big band swingers.
Yeah, like the big ballroom in the Rocketeer style, like just huge, like almost amphitheater size. Like,
I want polar bears to crash this party. It's so cool because that's what happens.
Polar bears crash. They kidnap Barbara. Dick gives chase on a stolen motorcycle.
We get some real bad 3D.
Some real bad CGI animation.
I mean, I am usually a sucker for bad 3D animation.
Yeah,
but this is just like such a bad attempt. Well, and I understand it's early 3D.
It is. It's early.
But I can't say that because Toy Story came out 2 years before this.
Well, but this wasn't made by fucking Pixar.
I get that, Chris. But companies can try harder than this. This isn't even like not Cyber Chase. What was the other PBS show that was all 3D?
Fuck if I know.
There was Arthur. There was Cyber
Reboot?
Chase. That sounds right.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. But
Reboot did better than this.
When would you...
That's a full 3D show.
When would you say that we reached... what year, roughly around, or like what movie can you pinpoint where a traditional 2D animated film used 3D animated elements in it and it looked flawless?
I don't know if I can say that yet.
Really?
Yeah.
But what about like something like Paperman? Because like that is that's a hybrid, right? I mean,
yeah, that's kind of a hybrid.
I mean, I feel like even the Disney movies in the '90s used some of that. Like I feel like Tarzan wasn't a lot of his environment CGI.
Okay, I guess I was trying to think of less big budget things because this was obviously made for TV
budget.
This is
yeah.
I was trying to think of just the other like.
Come on, animation expert.
The other DC movies. I don't know. I still can't think of any good like direct to video uses of it because I think more now companies don't do it as often, but in anime that's become a much bigger thing because it's a lot faster.
Well, and I think I feel like the art style of the animated series was deliberately old school. I mean, we've talked about it's modeled off the old Fleischer cartoons, right?
Right.
So everything it has a bit of a rounded style to it, which I think makes it, or it's all very fluid, which makes it harder to do like kind of crappy CGI. Like I feel like when we start getting to let's say, like Justice League and it's a little more angular, there's clearly a lot of stuff in there that's also like CGI.
They can get away with it,
and it
more.
looks much smoother.
Though there was one moment of bad 3D, which just like I paused it. It was like. Season 1 bad episode bad, which we'll get to in a second. But there was a really cool car chase, which is what we were trying to talk about.
It was a decent car chase. I love that Dick just takes some guy's motorcycle, hands him his keys, like, here, take my Corvette, just because I like the idea that Dick Grayson drives a Corvette.
Yeah.
That fits.
Yeah, it fits.
I'm very curious what year Corvette, though.
It doesn't matter, Chris.
Okay.
We're 42 minutes in. We're still only 20 minutes into the movie.
There's really not that much to talk about, though, is there?
Yeah. So, cool car chase. Freeze gets away with Barbara.
Gordon rallies the troops. Montoya's in dress in a police an office not a detective attire anymore. She's back in beat cop uniform. I don't know
because I think there was a little note on the Amazon thing that said in New Batman Adventures she was still a police officer.
No, she's a detective.
Okay, then I have no idea.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
All right, because this clearly takes place after the last Mr. Freeze episode.
Yeah,
so I don't know. Error.
Who cares?
Yeah,
no one cares.
So Barbara wakes up. She tries to escape, and she discovers that she's on an oil rig.
Yes. Batman. I don't know what happens anymore.
They went to go talk.
There was one little thing. I love the trope because it's just it's such a small thing, and I don't know why I love it so much because it's not used anymore. I feel like, but when a character looks over a ledge, and it's like a deep drop, they'll change camera angles from the person to the drop off, and they'll do this in and out zoom just really quick. I love that, and I don't know why.
Do you know what that's referencing?
I'm gonna guess Vertigo.
Yep. Have you seen Vertigo?
Nope.
That's a pretty good guess then.
Yeah.
I forget what the name of that shot is. Keep talking.
I don't know. Okay.
I'm gonna look this shit up.
Okay. So
I don't know why I whispered there.
Batman finds the car, figures out Belson is attached to this. Oh no, he goes to the science lab first, asks another scientist, who's in charge of all cryogenic stuff.
Did you see who the voice was on that?
Nope.
Lauren Tom.
Mm-hmm.
For fuck's sake. Voice of Amy.
Chris, I'm trying to speed through this podcast.
The voice of Amy on Futurama.
Oh, I like her.
Keep going.
Did you hear that Matt Groening's making a new series? We're not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
That's not important. They learned Belson is the leading cryogenic person. We learned that he's $2.5 million in debt. They go to his office to try and find clues. They find his broker. They go interrogate the broker. Broker gets a call. Oh, next scene. Gets a call. They analyze the audio. They've realized, he's not on the shore. That's why they couldn't find him. He's on the soil rig.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this was a 3D moment where the bat plane, the bat jet, bat wing, whatever, Chris. I'm tired. It's been weeks since we talked about this show. It's almost done.
Are you okay?
I'm not.
Do you need a nap?
I do. I miss cons. I miss Comic-Con, Chris.
Oh, you're going to be insufferable for weeks.
I had 2 cons. I've never done back-to-back cons before. It's rough. It's hard.
Yeah, I bet.
So as the jet is taking off, wing is taking off.
Alfred?
No. The fire animation coming from the wing is so bad. It's almost like realistic fire.
Yeah.
It's like bad 3D realistic fire.
Okay.
That stood out so much to me, and I don't know why.
It stood out more than the like perfectly rigid figure of Alfred, slowly gravitating away from the plane as it's taking off.
Yes. I couldn't. Like I said, I had to pause and look at this fire because it wasn't like hand drawn. I mean, the whole last 10 minutes of this movie is drawing fire.
Yeah,
like you can take a section of that and just put it here.
But I think the whole shot there was CGI. That's probably why.
Yeah, I don't think it was because the Batwing looked normal.
The Batwing was CGI.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it looks bad when it's taking off out of the cave, and it's doing this I don't know why you would have a winding tunnel leading the bat cave, the bat
cool angles
out of the cave.
Ha! What's wrong, Chris?
I'm tired.
Oh man, this is a disaster of a podcast.
Oh, by the way,
always.
do you want to know what the shot is they're referencing? It's called. In case you're curious,
it's
called
In and Out.
I can't believe I forgot this. It's called a dolly zoom.
That makes so much sense.
You dolly away from the subject while you zoom in on it, and that gives it that distortion thing.
We've done that shot in some sketch that was never put out.
We did?
I thought we did. Whatever. It's not important, Chris. Man, this is a disaster. So that's fine.
They go to the rig.
Yeah.
And Barbara is rescued this time by the little Inuit kid whose name I forget.
It's not important.
Yeah.
I want to keep saying Kerchak, but that's the name of the ape from Tarzan.
No, it's just wrong.
Is it? No, Kaya is.
Doesn't matter. So
they show my Disney knowledge.
So she's trying to run away, and the doctor goes after her with a gun and starts firing at her, and he shoots a fuel tank, and the whole thing goes up because it is an oil rig, and it had to light on fire at some point. So then Batman and Robin show up in the Batwing to jump in and save the day. Mm-hmm. They do.
The end. Yeah. They, explosion. Freeze comes out. They fight. They basically kill Belson.
Yeah, he's fleeing from the oil rig. He leaves. So Freeze gets pinned underneath a piece of debris and breaks his leg. Belson leaves him behind, runs down, takes off in a boat. The landing pad falls away from the oil rig just as Robin's taking off in the Batwing to swoop in for a rescue. And it just lands atop him and kills him. And
I wanted to bring this up because we learned about this at Comic-Con. We didn't get to talk about this. And I loved this point. Kevin Conroy talked about the staying alive groan.
Oh, yeah.
They had to do. And I was listening for it.
There's no stay alive groan in this one. Yeah.
But he talks about the fun inside joke about that where they always kind of do it's always an A sound as the staying alive groan. And over weeks of doing that, it just kind of turned into them saying Andrea's name in a very sexual way.
Yeah.
So it was the Andrea moan.
How did it sound, Cameron?
It doesn't. You can use your imagination.
But yeah, it's hard not to think of that every time you hear one of the moans now. And there's none this time because he just gets fucking flattened.
Yeah, because he's just dead.
But Barbara, despite nearly being murdered by Freeze. Oh yeah, by the way, they want Barbara's organs to go into.
Oh yeah,
Nora.
that's the whole point of why they
should have
kidnapped
mentioned
her.
that at some point.
Nah, they can put two and two together.
But despite that, she goes back and saves Freeze, and Batman comes and saves them as well, and so they are able to get Barbara and Nora and little Inuit kid out onto the Batwing. Mm-hmm. Batman goes back to try and save Freeze, who is now like dangling over like a giant hole through the middle of the rig over the ocean. And Batman almost saves him.
Almost saves him, but he gets hit by a little stone, and he drops.
And he falls, and so we assume he's dead. And so Batman leaps off of the structure and grapples onto the base. This was
very. I mean, I said a lot of negative things about the 3D animation, but this final scene I thought was beautiful.
It is, yeah. I
love when he's in silhouette against all the fire.
Yeah, and like he's racing off the platform, and I think even the Batwing here looks pretty good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it. This definitely feels like it was just a stretched out episode.
Yeah.
Because most of it is pretty inconsequential, but I will give it credit. Like the ending's actually pretty solid. Like the last 10, 15 minutes are actually pretty exciting.
Mm-hmm. There were two things that I wanted to bring up about this end scene.
Okay.
Why does Batman care about Nora now when in the last time we saw Freeze, where she was perfectly fine still, he's like, no, we have to leave. I don't remember what the situation was.
Well, that place is blowing up as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. Or he's like, Freeze, we have to go. He's like, no, I need Nora. He's like, fuck Nora, we gotta go.
I guess he did.
Like last time he didn't give a fuck about Nora.
Yeah. This time he really does.
Yeah, now, I mean, yeah. Now she's out of her cryogenic chamber. Yeah. So she's a real person in his eyes. And the second point I wanted to bring up is when we joke about it being stretched out, this was just a game of who could say, like, if I'm not back by now, leave without me the most times. So I think in this 20-minute span, I think it said 4 times.
Isn't it pretty much all Batman saying it too?
Batman said it 3 times, and Freeze said it once.
Okay, yeah.
It's a game of who can be the most selfless.
I think the answer there is Batman.
Yeah, always.
Although Freeze does technically get left behind, so maybe it's him. But it has the most. This is also a very like staple thing from Batman the Animated Series. This perfect wrap up at the end where it's like some remote scientific outpost in the Arctic, and they're watching a Gotham City news broadcast.
Yeah,
that just happens to feature Summer Gleason talking about how Nora was like given the transplant through like a grant from the Wayne Foundation, and Freeze just like in his like pajamas because he likes the cold, just like looking through, like, oh cool, my wife's all good, and off he walks.
Yeah, it was kind of melancholy-ish.
It wasn't as impactful though as the other Freeze.
Not at all.
No,
there was a lot. This was my next question, and I don't know if we have time for this full thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a longer episode. Like, all right, it's a movie, so I said we got ourselves a good like 20 minutes.
So we've brought up the idea that this would probably be better as a 2-part episode. It wouldn't be as loose. Where was my question? Very broad question, and I probably should have prefaced this before the podcast. How would you make this better? I had a few points, but I'm curious
think,
your ideas.
Like, as a movie, or are we talking like the possibility of making it just an episode of the show?
As a movie, how do you think it could be better? What steps could they have done to change it? You can change anything about it. Keeping it, the same basic characters. What would you have changed about it?
This is real bad because these kind of questions are literally my job, and I don't know how to answer this.
Well, like I said, I figure on the spot.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, what I noticed about it was that it was inefficient storytelling. So I think it is. I think it's just the wrong format at the end of the day. Like, I think it delivered a kind of a big enough finale to kind of feel justified being a movie in some sense. Mm-hmm. I just don't think there was enough story here to warrant the length of it.
Yeah.
Like, we talked about it all. A lot of really inconsequential stuff happens. It all kind of gets dragged out. Like the way they kind of discover the mystery behind it, the way Batman and Robin investigated it, it's all a little contrived. I mean,
Batman, I feel like, doesn't care. Like, he had besides his name being in the title, he didn't need to be in this movie at all.
Oh yeah,
this could have been a complete Robin independent story.
Yeah, and I think that almost might have been the more interesting thing, is that they had made this a 2-part episode that maybe focused exclusively on Robin and Barbara, like, and really put their relationship up at the forefront rather than just kind of putting it in the beginning.
Yeah.
one of the things kind of related to this, one of the things that I can't remember is if there's ever a story that explains how Batgirl gets folded into the actual official Bat family. Because by the time we pick up again the new Batman Adventures, like Bruce knows who she is and vice versa, and she's like fully part of the team.
Okay.
And I couldn't remember if that happens here. It doesn't. Like,
no, we have no reference point on if they know or not.
Yeah, I almost would have liked to have that incorporated in there somewhere.
And that's kind of upsetting because, like we said, this was 4 years after the show.
Yeah.
People don't know that.
Yeah.
And they did make it very vague. Like, it didn't matter if they knew or not.
Yeah, and I mean, it's Barbara so that there's personal stakes for both Robin and Gordon, but
they don't show that. That was my point.
Yeah, and she's mostly a damsel in distress, but by the time that she escapes, she then turns around and helps them go back and get Nora and the kid, and she's helpful in her own right. So she's more than just a damsel, but she's basically just a damsel. Yeah, if you're going to make it a feature, I think they had to focus more on the Barbara-Robin or Barbara-Dick relationship and maybe actually have her role as Batgirl get revealed and vice versa. That might have made it more interesting.
Okay.
What about you?
I still think it could have done well with Freeze being the main... Because Freeze was the main character of this movie.
And I think he more or less works.
I think they could have done it better.
Okay.
Because compared to the 2 times we've seen him before, obviously this doesn't stand up to Heart of Ice.
No.
Do you think it's better, equal, on par with the Walt Disney episode? I feel like the Walt Disney episode was this movie.
It's basically the same plot.
Yeah,
it's almost
done in 22 minutes and is a little bit better.
That's a little bit.
I think mainly because Freeze doesn't have an arc in this. He's bad, and then he's just kind of a little bit less bad.
Yeah.
And then everything works out for him in the end.
That's true, yeah, because
except he has a broken leg.
Yeah.
Like, that's the big consequence of this, is he broke his leg.
When he realizes...
And he's not with his wife anymore. I guess that's kind of a big thing.
It's kind of sad. But yeah, when he realizes the Batman's going to go back and try to save Nora, he helps them save her. That's about it.
But, I mean, you could argue that he's not saving them, he's saving her.
Yeah, he's only doing it for her. He only does anything for her.
Right. And, like, they tried to make him both the main character and the villain, which works sometimes, but, like, I would have rather Belson been, like, a bigger, like, a more evil figure.
He was just kind of a douche.
On, like, him. Yeah, because, like, I thought at the beginning with him, like, trying to scam him out of all this money, like, maybe he had a bigger, like, presence behind it.
Yeah.
But no, he's just a guy that needed money.
Yeah, that's it.
And like if they made that a bigger villain and gave Freeze a better arc to kind of realize what his actions are doing. Like he has that moment where Barbara says that she will do the surgery just in better circumstances.
Yeah.
Like if he...
Well, if it was a transfusion, she said, I'm happy to do it.
That's true, yeah.
It's more than a transfusion. That don't kill her.
I feel like, he could have talked to not a scumbag doctor.
Yeah,
and
probably.
had something else happen. What else did I have in here? I had a few big things. Give Freeze a moment to really contemplate his actions and like see the consequences that are happening. Besides having his entire quote unquote lair blow up in front of him.
Yeah,
which is kind of always the cop out of the show.
It is. And what could have been interesting is so he's doing all this. He's basically going to kill Barbara to save the woman he loves. It could have been interesting if the relationship between Barbara and Dick were then treated as like a mirror of that, and maybe if you got a chance to like see them and realize like
and that's the other big thing is like we understood why Dick was so passionate about this thing, but in Batman fashion we never got the Batman talk of like I'm doing this alone. You're too close to the situation.
That's true. He just
that would have given Batman a reason to do this, and it would have added a new level of conflict that would have been really interesting to deal with, and especially with Gordon. I think that's what really upset me is they could have done so much with his character.
He just disappears.
Even with just having his like 3 minutes on screen, he still seems very. I mean, not calm, but he seems on top of his stuff. Like he's 100% devoted to his work.
Yeah,
like this is like a routine thing. Like have you checked here, and here. Like, he has no emotion that his daughter has been kidnapped by one of the, like, most powerful villains of Gotham.
Yeah.
Like, I would have loved a moment where, like, you see him trying to command the troops, and he's just, like, getting mad at everyone because they're not doing what they want, and, like, either Bruce or Batman has to come in. Because they both have a connection with Gordon.
Yeah.
Where they come in and have to, like, talk him down of, like, I'm going to get this done. Like, just take a breath. We're going to find her.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been great.
Well, I think this proves your point you asked at the very beginning, like, it's impossible to watch this and not have the same sort of expectations for Phantasm, where, like, every element of that is completely drenched in, like, really, like, gut-wrenching and, like, heartbreaking emotion.
Yeah.
And here it's all just plot.
Yeah. And, like, they chose the most emotional villain for it.
Yeah. Which helps it a little bit. But
yeah.
you could still more or less have this be a different villain, and it functionally would be basically the same. Just it'd be maybe a little less interesting. But, yeah, you go back to what I said at the beginning. You do get the feeling like this was maybe an episode they've written they just never got around to making, and then with Batman and Robin coming out, like, well, we can capitalize on this.
Right. Yeah. And maybe this is why Bruce and Dini weren't a part of this, is because they kind of saw that this wasn't up to their standard or quality.
Yeah. I think they were all... Well, I'm trying to think. When this... 97, they would have been working on New Batman and
this is when the comic series... This is when Dini was working on the comic series as well.
I think so,
right?
yeah. Yeah, and so what's interesting is that there was actually... This did well enough, though. There was a proposed sequel. I don't know if you read about this. It was just a brief mention on Wikipedia that it was going to be Batman Arkham, and not necessarily like Arkham Asylum, like the novel, like the graphic novel that was made into the game.
Right.
But it was going to be kind of a similar thing, like Batman going against like a lot of his rogues galleries at Arkham, and that was scrapped in favor of making Return of the Joker instead.
Okay.
Which I rewatched recently and is amazing.
Yeah. I have seen that one, so I'm excited to rewatch that one.
Yeah, I think that falls in pretty closely behind Mask of the Phantasm. Like I think that's the Batman Beyond version of Mask of the Phantasm.
Absolutely.
I think it succeeds in a lot of the same ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just kind of like, it's an episode.
From the reviews that I read, I think the only reason people loved it was because they were just comparing it to the live action film.
Yeah.
Like most of the reviews are like, in comparison, this is amazing. This is everything that I wanted.
Well, and if you came out of Batman and Robin being really mad at the fact that it's a horrible version of those characters. Like it's those characters are done poorly. Then you would watch this and go like, well, it's not necessarily great, but at least it's an authentic version of Freeze and Batman and Robin and like Barbara.
And again, there's a 4-year jump.
Yeah.
So you don't have that same storytelling and character development. We have the luxury of having watched the entire season,
the entire
series.
Yeah, and like even, I mean, so we put it here deliberately because like timeline wise, this is where it makes the most sense.
Yeah,
is to be right here. But I imagine too when it came out, there's probably people like, oh yeah, like this takes me back. I think in the same way that you and I both had a fondness for like Batman and Harley Quinn, we watched it at Comic-Con because like there was a lot of stuff that brought us back to.
When we watched Harlequinade.
We watched Harlequinade, yeah. So there might have been an element of that, too. People are like, like, I miss the animated series. Wasn't that
early
such a good
nostalgia
version? Yeah, it's like, there's enough stuff there for you to remember how good the animated series is, if maybe this isn't that good itself. But, I mean, we don't have to watch it again, which is good.
Yep, we're done. And you never have to hear us talk about it again.
No. Also, we never said BTAS or BTOS, I just realized.
That's fine. I mean, it doesn't matter anymore.
I don't think I have anything else really to talk about on this. I think we've basically hit all of my notes on it.
Yeah, I got my fast facts in. Batman didn't care.
Oh, I did have one thing that I thought you would appreciate a little bit.
Ooh.
So this is a different voice for Barbara.
I thought so.
Right. So in the animated series, it's Melissa Gilbert, and then we get to New Batman Adventures and all the subsequent storylines. It's Tara Strong. So in this movie, it's Mary Kay Bergman.
Yes.
Do you know who that is?
Should I know who that is?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
But you'll recognize stuff she did. She basically did every female voice on South Park.
Oh,
for many years. And she was actually also the original voice of Timmy Turner.
Oh, before Tara.
Yeah. So like there was a short, I guess, as part of like a broader thing that included the intro for The Odd Parents, and she was the voice then.
Probably in Power Surge.
I think so.
That was the very first episode.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's like 2 roles that she passed along to Tara Strong.
Or that Tara Strong stole from her.
Let's say it was done nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, Tara Strong is so amazing.
Yeah.
So
there was a quick side note. There was a cute, I think, video. It might have been a Vine from a few years ago, where it was Tara's daughter trying to do the Timmy Turner voice.
Oh yeah.
And Tara like swings the door open in Timmy's voice, like, "What do you think you're doing?" It was cute.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No. What have you been watching, reading, listening to?
I went and saw Dunkirk.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was that?
It's
because we saw different movies this week.
Yeah, no, like deliberately so, and also very
unintentionally, but
kind of unintentionally, but also very in line with our personalities.
Yes.
I think. It's
I don't know what you're talking about.
One can only guess what you went and saw. It's
the Emoji Movie.
Did you actually?
No,
see
I haven't seen the
Okay.
Emoji Movie.
I feel bad because a friend of mine actually worked on that. So like, I want it like I'm torn. I want it to be like for his sake. Like I want it to be successful.
And
like,
Patrick Stewart is in it.
Patrick Stewart's in it, but also it's like the fact that it exists hurts my soul.
Yeah.
But I did see Dunkirk. It's solid. I mean,
It's reviewing very well.
it's doing well. It got number one over the weekend box office. So you and I were joking. You made a comment about how the emoji. You texted me about how the Emoji Movie was at 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I said, "But watch, it'll make more money than Atomic Blonde," which we're gonna go try and see this week, and super excited about. It did but it only just got beaten out by Dunkirk. Like Dunkirk did beat it for the weekend, but only by like a tiny little margin. But I mean, so Dunkirk, it's very Nolan. It is gorgeous at times. I went and saw it in IMAX.
Okay.
Worth it seeing in IMAX. Like especially the dogfight sequences. Like, so Tom Hardy's an RAF pilot, and so all the dogfights between his Spitfires and the German Messerschmitts are just fucking breathtakingly gorgeous. Like I had visceral reactions. Like, oh my god, this is amazing. So, I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. It is really tense through a lot of it. It's short for Nolan. It's only like an hour and 45, which is really short for him. But I have to admit, I did get bored at times, just because he was really trying to emphasize it as a visceral experience more so than like a traditional film or story. So like there are I know of like, I couldn't tell you a single character's name. Like a few of them are named, but oh god, Cillian Murphy is in it. Doesn't have a name. Like the main guy, I don't know his name. So it's not about their stories and their arc so much as like what they're experiencing. And I don't know, it's all right.
In comparison to kind of Nolan's last from Dark Knight Rises through now, is it just Interstellar between them?
Yeah. So of his his last three stinkers, which has this fall. I mean, this isn't quite
like Inception. I guess
this isn't quite
there.
It isn't quite a stinker.
I was hoping he had more movies come out between Dark Knight Rises and now, but I guess he didn't. It's that Inception and Interstellar.
For me, Inception was the last great movie he actually made.
Okay.
I think there's a lot to praise about this movie. It's a really easy movie to admire. It's a hard movie to love.
Okay.
Let's put it that way.
I'll change the question. Compared to Saving Private Ryan.
I actually haven't seen Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, wow. I've seen a good movie that you haven't seen.
I know. There are a few out there that I have owned a copy of it for many years. I just never bothered to sit down and watch it because like I know it's going to be super, super intense.
But that's the reason I'm not watching. I haven't watched Dunkirk yet.
Yeah. And it's yeah. I don't know if you have to see it, to be honest. If you're going to see it, try and see it in IMAX. Like that's what I said about Interstellar too. Like I will never watch the movie again, but I'm glad I saw it one time in an IMAX theater. Mm-hmm. Same thing here. But it's okay.
Okay.
It's still my plug. If you want to see a great movie, go watch Crimson Tide. But it's still my plug for the week.
Okay.
So, but what did you go see, Cameron?
Well, first I want to give a quick plug. I'll wait for this plane to pass through because this is a very important plug.
That helicopter?
Nope. It's an aeroplane. It's Tom Hardy in his aeroplane.
In his Spitfire?
Yep. One of our very good friends of the podcast, Matt Acevedo.
Oh, yes.
And his company, Hyper RPG, created this amazing Comic-Con video.
That is a great video.
Music video. Yeah. And it's great. I've probably listened to it like 6 or 7 times now, and it's so much fun.
Frustratingly catchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. I'm a little upset with how many views it has because it's not like getting the traction I think it deserves.
Okay.
Especially for like the quality they put into it.
It's incredibly well done. I know it made up on IO9.
Yeah, it made up on IO9. It's up on Kotaku. It's up somewhere else.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone should go check that song out because it's really great.
Comics on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of talking about how we need to give praise to the people that made Comic-Con what Comic-Con is, and to the artists and writers and creators of of the comics, and not just focus on the entertainment side.
It's very clever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great good choice.
Yeah. But my worst plug is I saw Valerian.
So, to you, how was it?
I wish honestly, I wish I liked it.
Oh no! I was hoping you at least like something about.
I loved I loved the aliens. I thought they were great. They were very well done and animated, and very unique. And like it was, the closest thing I can compare it to is Speed Racer.
Okay,
where it's just like it's fun to watch because like I could watch it and just look at all the different aliens because like I heard the story of how they kind of created some of them, and they basically locked a bunch of artists in individual rooms for 24 hours. Like all around the world they did this, just so there was no communication between them.
Okay.
And had them create their own thing. It's like each artist did like 10 to 15 aliens that are completely unique to every other person around the world. And that's so fascinating.
That's pretty awesome, yeah.
Yeah. And I could rewatch it, and just like every time I watched it, I could see a new alien because there's so many, and it's so cool. And it's just like a color explosion. It's like almost sensory overload with how much you see and hear, and it's cool in that sense. But then there's this B storyline of this horrible love story between Valerian and
Lorelei?
Lorelei.
Yeah.
That just is so bad and so poorly done, and it really waters down the rest of the movie. Like, it's cute in the beginning because it's like him proposing to her, even though he's like supposed to be the least faithful person on the planet or in the galaxy. It's very similar to like Star-Lord and Gamora.
Okay, wait, least faithful as in he's like sleeping around with a whole bunch of different aliens?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not Star. Other one. Other Chris. Kirk and Ahura.
Okay, well...
From...
Okay, Kirk and Ahura were never an item.
I know. But like he's still chasing after her.
Not really.
In the first movie he is.
I mean...
He definitely is in the first movie.
In kind of like a half-hearted way.
Yeah. But I mean, in this, it feels very half-hearted in this. Okay. But like the first scene, he proposes to her. And like the whole movie is him trying to prove himself to be like the faithful husband.
Okay.
And it's just like it's so, and there's no chemistry between the actors, and that's kind of the biggest critique a lot of people are having.
Yeah.
And if it didn't have this B storyline, this would easily go up on like I would rewatch this movie, 2 or 3 times a year, because it's so, like I said, it's so visually fun to watch.
But the plot,
if it didn't have that stupid love story, because like even the main plot is a lot of fun because it's a lot of just nonsense, which I love.
Yeah.
Of like, this bad thing is happening. How are they going to get out? Is that what a Deus Ex Machina is? Is when like a complete third party thing comes in to save the day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what Deus Ex
There's
Machina
like
stands for.
10 of those.
Oh my God.
And I love it every time. But if it just wasn't for that stupid love story, it'd be so much fun.
Okay.
And it's very obvious that I enjoy bad movies. And this,
we know.
Like I said, I wish I loved this movie.
Oh.
I wish I could say that it was fun. But that storyline is just, it kills it so hard.
Oh, it sucks.
I know.
So it's not worth going to see?
I don't think you would like it.
Okay. I'll take your word on that one.
Like, I have friends that I think I've recommended it to some friends that enjoy the same kind of bad stuff that I like, and they'll watch it once and it'll be over with.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't think you would like it.
Okay, I'll skip it. There are other things I'd rather go see.
Mm-hmm.
So we have like one genuine plug amongst all that for Matt's video.
Yeah,
maybe more so than the movies.
Oh yeah, and I'll do another good plug just because it's what I've spent my entire week doing.
You don't have to if you don't want.
I was gonna plug Full Metal Alchemist.
Okay.
Have you watched the series before?
No, but
Shane and I have watched that series before.
I can include it.
All right, I'm not gonna talk about that. You can cut all this out. Probably won't.
I won't. No. I want to know how mean I am to you.
No, that's fine. I did. Yeah. Everyone's seen the series already,
except for me.
Yeah.
That's
But that's it,
it,
guys. We made it through a really bad podcast. Thanks for sticking with us. If you made it this far,
yeah.
It's kind of. I mean, if it wasn't for the Comic-Con podcast, it'd kind of be 2 stingers in a row.
Yeah. Wait, what? No.
Finale was bad, Chris.
Yeah, I guess it was.
Not to hate on our own podcast.
No. It wasn't a very good episode.
But thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah.
I'm sure you liked that promotion in the middle.
Oh, shit. Give me 1 second. I've been distracted of late. It's Guilty Pleasures, our promo.
Oh, we know them.
Yes, Jackie and Amanda.
I want to be on their podcast.
I do too, actually. Yeah,
because we have so many guilty pleasures.
You especially have like all the guilty pleasures. Yes,
my whole life is a guilty pleasure.
It's our friends Jackie and Amanda, and their podcast is all about like every episode they have a guest come on and they talk about a guilty pleasure, something they love. I think this upcoming, the latest one I think is The Twilight Zone. I think I saw from their Instagram.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but they are both just super, super funny and just like the sweetest people. So yeah, highly recommend go checking out their podcast. I'm sure it's a lot better than this one.
Oh, I'm sure.
So it sucks that someone has to listen all the way through our crappy podcast to get a promo for a much better one.
I mean, that's how it works.
But you know what? They probably don't talk about Batman. So there we go.
There we go.
We have a one up on them.
We barely
never
talk about
again
Batman.
because now it's all going to be Superman from this point on.
Yeah.
Because we will be returning next week with not a movie, with not a Comic-Con special, with not a crossover special, which we've been doing a whole bunch of recently. Just straight up Superman. The beginning of it, Superman animated series, the first 3 episodes of that series.
3? Gosh, you're making me work.
Well, I mean, it's a 3-part intro
because
it's like his, it's a little bit of him on Krypton and then him as like a kid.
Yeah.
Can we just Luthor? We had Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen.
Can we just watch the Justice League birthday episode for like 16 podcasts in a row? Because that gets me every time.
For the man who has everything, when he's got the
parasite.
It's not Starro. It's whatever. I don't remember the name of it.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to it eventually. Yeah, no, but we're getting close, man. We're getting pretty close. Well, closer to Static, which is obviously
Superhero Static Shock.
There we go. Yes, but we will be back next week with Superman.
Yes.
Until then, if you want to reach out to us for whatever reason you feel inclined to do so, we are at Timm Talk Pod on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
I am at Lordifer. I'm those same things.
Yeah. I'm at CamDexter_adventures. And my art is at Cameron.Dexter if you want to go see that.
Have you been posting the same thing to both accounts recently?
Just once.
Okay. Because I feel like... Because I when I'm going through my Instagram, you pop up in like 4 places now. You have double like profiles on both the Timm Talk Instagram, which I look at. No, you don't really.
Nope.
And then my own. So I see so much of your life, Cameron.
Yes. My very exciting life.
Yeah. I don't know, you have like a work thing or something. You put both on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a dog and cotton candy.
Oh. Okay.
Yep.
It's time to be done with
We're
this.
sorry, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. And goodbye.
Maybe we'll see you next week.
Hi, I'm Amanda Salvatore.
And I'm Jackie Ray Albell, and we're the 2 hosts of
The Guilty Pleasure Podcast, the show where we celebrate and elaborate on our odd and embarrassing interests.
Hey Amanda, what's your guilty pleasure?
I like dipping donuts in soup.
Oh, really?
No, but that's the kind of stuff we talk about.
Check us out every week on the Nerdist School Network.
Want to submit a guilty pleasure of your own? Email us at guiltypleasurepodcast@gmail.com.
And remember to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
The Nerdist School Network. For class and show information, visit nerdistschool.com.